to Teens in the D, your platform for the voice of Detroit teens.
As always, if you are a young person you know would be interested in joining our team, go to teensinthelead.org to see how you can get involved. Now on to our trending topic.
So, I'm sure that all of you are aware of the fact that the coronavirus quarantine seems to be letting up. So, as you know, or as you may know, certain areas and states such as Texas and restaurants in Colorado, Las Vegas, and things like that are slowly reopening, even if the governor of the state says that they're not supposed to. Because of the fact that the states are eventually going to have to reopen, how do you guys feel about how quick we're reopening anyway? I mean, do you guys wish that it could that our reopening could slow down or speed up? How do you feel about it?
Well, for me, I feel as though we should probably, tone it down, or at least like here in Wayne County and surrounding, just because, we have like one of the highest rates of the coronavirus in the country. So if we quickly move into reopening, it's only going to get worse since more people are going to be around each other. So I feel like we should probably slow down here.
So I feel that way about some of some of the states reopening that way. However, for some of the states, I feel though it kind of depends on how the virus is impacting the people in that area. So like earlier this week, the governor of Michigan reopened had plans. I don't know if she reopened it or not, but I know she had plans to reopen the Upper Peninsula of Michigan because their impact isn't as harsh as ours, I would guess. So that it makes more sense for them to open than the UP just to kind of test things out to see maybe if a second wave could occur. But I think it's definitely dependent on the area and the impacts of that area.
Sanaya, Amaya, you got anything you want to add?
Well, I think they shouldn't really rush into anything because, like other pandemics, there's like a second wave that could come about and you never know, that might come about. I'm not saying that it will, but, we have to be cautious. Like we don't want everyone out, you have to be a little bit cautious. So I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm not going to be the first one out when they do open it back up because I gotta sit back and observe for just like a little bit. So yeah.
Now, for better news, for you theater nerds out there, Hamilton is going to be releasing on Disney Plus this July, 15 months earlier than its original release. Emerson, I know that you're into theater as a member of Mosaic. How does that make you feel? I know you must be so
Yes, it makes me feel super, super excited. I've only seen Hamilton once, and I was allowed that opportunity through, like, as a part of being in Mosaic. But I don't feel as though you can ultimately capture the entire experience from just going one time. When you see Hamilton one time, like, first of all, there are just so many things that are going to catch your eye, but it is a living history lesson. It's actually talking about Alexander Hamilton and his life and the things that happened. So that is an aspect of it too. And I don't think that I really grasped that as much, simply because I was paying attention more so to like the theatrical elements of it and the music of everything. And it was also fun because I had, that time to spend with my friends as well. But I think that I can actually use that to kind of learn a little bit more about Alexander Hamilton and the history and the impact that he has on this country, but also admire the theatrical elements of that musical as well. So I'm super excited and I can't wait until it comes to Disney Plus because like I'm gonna be the first one to watch it at 12 a.m. on July 3rd, like right when it's released. Best to believe, don't talk to me, don't text me, don't do nothing. I'm gonna be watching Hamilton on Disney Plus July 3rd. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
Does everybody have Disney Plus, or am I the only one that don't got it or doesn't have it?
But I
Because
haven't used it. I haven't used it at all. Like I'm like way behind. Like I just don't. I don't know. I feel it different because I've just been playing games and stuff. So I haven't really been watching anything.
really,
Mm.
so you don't have like a favorite Disney movie or anything?
I mean, I'm a Star Wars guy, but that's not really a Disney movie until they ruin. But it's okay.
I mean, you can still got a little bit of time till the quarantine runs out. You should be watching Disney movies to get away from it all.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's something that might be more interesting or more up your alley, because I notice you have on a Lions shirt. You know that they're starting to slowly reopen sports. There was a golf and a racing match a few days ago. Should they reopen so soon, especially because it's going to be a large gathering of people that will be standing in the stadiums?
I think if the people in charge do it right, we could for sure open it up because like sports is one of the biggest parts of the economy, and also it's just awesome. Like it's like sports is just one of the best things that you know it's just one of the best things out there. So I think that if they do it right, like if they maybe start off without allowing fans to come to the stadiums, or like or if they just kind of don't allow people to come in as quickly. So yeah, yeah.
Are any of you guys, is anybody else a sports fan? I know I'm not, but
I mean, I like basketball. That's cool, but I don't think they should open that back up. It's too packed, and there's a whole lot of people walking around. So it wouldn't be safe for them to open that back up too soon.
Listen, I'm not your typical sports guru or geek or whatever y'all like to call them. Don't laugh at me, Khalil. I see you over there laughing. It's not funny. But I have a say in what I want to say, okay? So I'm going to just say this. I think that recreationally, they should. Did I say recreationally? Is that a word? I don't want
recreation.
to say.
Yes, it's a word.
Okay, all right. I feel as though recreationally, it would be a huge help and that it would help those associations and those, the football league and the National Basketball League because they were getting a lot of sales through people watching their games and stuff. However, I don't know how that's going to do with like the arenas and the other entertainment sectors simply because people aren't physically going to those locations to do certain things. I'm pretty sure someone on their strategic, development team or whatever is going to come up with some amazing way to still figure out a way to try to get those funds back into those areas. But I think it will help for those leagues and those associations, the people who do open up their doors, well, not their doors, but who do allow their players to continue playing without the people in the arenas. And I think that it will help as well with people who are in the pandemic because, people don't got sports. Like my dad literally sits here all day, does nothing. And I feel like if there were, if the sports were an option, if we did have those sports, then that wouldn't be the case. But you know, I mean, it's nice to see that to see things gradually start to come back and come together again. It's really nice. I'm happy for you
Yeah, because
sports fans. That's just not my thing.
South Korea is using all sorts of different tactics to make sure that even though there aren't any people in the stadium, the baseball players can still play. They've used posters of people to life-size toys just so that way they could get that experience. So I feel like without the players, I mean, without the audience, the players don't really have that much of a platform and that much inspiration. So I would have to say that I feel like they should be more cautious in reopening, but like you said, they should try to find a way to make sure their funds stay. I mean, make sure their sales stay up until the stadiums and everything reopens.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just speaking from an economical standpoint because that's what I'm most familiar with. Um, but I think that the engagement with that fans kind of drives them towards the finish line and their whatever sport that you may play. And basketball, any chants or things that they say within that game, it kind of encourages the players to perform better. And so I think that is a huge, that contributes a lot to, how they perform and how they play. And actually, that causes people to get more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the performance of the player um, equals like more wealth. I don't know how that whole thing works, but yeah, I think that engagement is definitely something that should be implemented. We should try to find creative ways to have that interaction there because that is important.
Now, this is the next thing that I feel like is very important, and it is for me. These online classes, because there are some people saying that, or there are some schools that are saying that from now on, they're going to use online classes more than they're using brick and mortars. How long do you think your school is going to use these classes?
I hope that they only use it till fall because I'm not good at online classes at all. I can't focus at home. I don't have help at home, so it's not really easy to do online classes when you have all distractions around you every single day.
Right.
Yeah, to be honest, like I haven't started my online school for this week, and that's kind of bad because I've been planning, but there's so many like things that I can be doing, and it's like school. Like I am very passionate about school, but it's like it's so much like that I can do. When you're at school, you're in a more structured, like you like have to do. You don't have to, but you have to do your work.
Right.
So I hope that it doesn't. I mean, I'm cool with school, but it's like I want to go back to school eventually. I hope it's not until, I hope it's just like up until the fall. I hope we get to go back to school. I want everything to be back to normal, and yeah.
Because what year of school are you guys in? What's your school grade, I guess? Are you juniors, sophomores?
I'm
I'm a
junior.
sophomore.
Well, I'm going into junior.
Okay.
I'm technically
Yeah,
I'm
junior.
technically a junior.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're doing tech.
Then I'm technically a sophomore then.
No, you're still a freshman, sir.
I'm the
Oh,
oldest one here. I remember so long ago, back in 2003, the good old days.
Get
Yeah.
out.
2003. Okay.
You guys
good
don't
old
know
days is,
anything
like, either
about the 2000s.
like
Hey,
2010
yes, I do.
or like
I remember.
2016.
I remember my first day of first grade. I don't know if you guys can remember that or not, but I do. So
I can hardly remember what I had for lunch yesterday. I can't go back that far.
I
Do you remember? Okay. Do you guys remember Zuzu Pets? Those little
Yeah.
hamsters? Did anybody
Wonder
have?
Pets? You mean Wonder? Wait, Zuzu Pets.
Yeah,
What are
remember there
those?
were those little hamsters on those motors.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, Zoom Zoom. Oh.
Oh, there's Zoom Zooms. I didn't even know what they was called.
Yeah, those
some
dogs
sort of
and stuff.
commercials.
I remember those. Yeah. Those.
Did
That's when
anybody?
they had commercials a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did anybody
yeah.
even have those?
I had
And the
two.
Hot Wheel thing, like they had a lot of commercials for that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the
Those were the
commercials are one of the
days.
things I'm gonna miss. Cause now, you don't see that many good commercials. You just see, oh yeah,
What?
download our app. You do not see any good commercials.
No. Y'all just don't know about no good commercials. Y'all
What
know
is
that,
one good commercial you have seen
bro.
in the past
First
2
of all,
years?
all them Geico commercials that be like,
Yeah, true.
they be like
Geico
50%
commercials be in it.
or more. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They be like 50.
Yeah.
You know that. What did they be saying? 50% or more can
Geico
save.
can save you
Wait.
15% or more on car insurance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
What
give
did you
you
know
the
that
one
words really do
commercial.
Progressive.
hurt?
I'm gonna
Yes.
give you
Oh my God.
Progressive.
I'm gonna give you the
Progressive,
one
Bud
commercial
Light.
when the guy ate the
Bud
little
Light
lizard's
too. Those are the
cookies
best.
from his little plate.
You
When I
said
tell
what?
you that commercial made me so mad. I
When
was
it
like,
did
why
what?
did you do that to that little lizard?
Oh man, my great grandmother used to like, that was her favorite commercials. Like Geico and Allstate, those are her favorite commercials. So I'd just be sitting there watching them with her. That was cool.
Bro, and the Jake from State Farm commercial, that hit differently, bro.
That was from
I
like
didn't know it was an actual
2005.
State
Jake,
Farm has good
but
commercials
I didn't
too.
know it was an actual. I didn't know it was an actual Jake from State Farm. Like they showed like this one commercial and it said Jake from State Farm, and I was like, he's real. Like I was, like my mind was blown. I was today years old when I found out that Jake from State Farm was actually a Jake from State Farm. Like I was like, oh no.
After that
But
one
yeah.
commercial that was in like 2003, the original Jake from State Farm, there is no Jake from State Farm that can top that. Like, I understand y'all made him a black dude, and I like that, but there ain't gonna be nothing like the first time I saw that commercial and the guy was like, khakis. You can't top that. You cannot replicate that commercial.
Talking about, he sounds hideous. Well, she sounds hideous. Well, she's a guy, so bro, I
Do you wear
died.
cake
I
from State
literally died.
Farm? Oh, khakis.
Khakis. She
But
sounds hideous.
other than
Well,
those
she's a
commercials,
guy,
every
so.
other commercial is like the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we might make our own commercial or something. We might make our own little commercial.
We got to. It's a challenge now. We got to make our own commercials now.
It is a fact.
And that's on Corona.
Speaking of Corona, you know that Eminem, a bunch of celebrities like Eminem, Rihanna, and Big Sean have helped raise millions to help fight the virus. Do y'all like those celebrities? Do y'all like what they? I mean, obviously you must like what they're doing, but do y'all wish more celebrities would do that? Help fight the virus with their money? Or do you wish they were just like in the fray?
I mean, I feel like all financial compensation of whatever sort helps. Especially when it's done through like foundations of people who are giving back to communities. And well-known, celebrities and people who are in the public eye. I feel that it is very like influential for them to do things like that because it definitely opens up like opportunities for other youth and other people who are looking up to them to kind of do the same. As far as me liking those celebrities, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I had like a period of time where not really Eminem like that. Like I didn't really listen to Eminem's music like that. But like Big Sean and Rihanna, like there was that whole summer 16 season, when all that stuff was hot. Y'all know that one summer. That's the summer. What? That's that summer. Was that that's the summer that like Blessings and all that came out? Well, I think that was summer 16. I feel like that was.
Wait. What you mean summer 16? Was that when Ariana Grande made her 7 rings and Thank You Next, or was that later than that?
That was like 18.
That was like last year.
Right.
I do not listen to music like I don't listen to music like that. I listen to jazz and that's it.
Do you remember
Summer
Drake and
16 was like
Rihanna
the
Work?
guy with.
You remember that
Summer
song?
16. Oh, my bad.
That was
What were you saying?
2016.
You know Work? That song's like with Rihanna and Drake.
Yeah,
How
that was
old is that
16.
song? That's
That's
That
16.
that's
4
like
years
4 or 5
old.
years. Joe, I was bopping to all those songs. Like I forget which one it was, but like it was either 16 or 17 or 15. But like I was just going on all these trips over the summer. And we was just listening to music in a rental car, going to the that was nice. Yeah.
Khalil done went into a flashback.
Right, he going to someone's detail. Yeah, we were in the rental car. We were driving north.
See,
on
it was summer
I-75.
16.
We were going to Ohio
Yeah.
on a warm summer afternoon.
I was about to say it was a cold, cloudy day.
I mean, it was Florida though, so you know,
Hey, I mean
it wasn't really
Ohio,
cold.
Florida, you know, it's all the same state. It's all the same
Did-
country.
Did you just say it's all the same state?
I was hoping that y'all wouldn't hear that. I was hoping that y'all would just go with the flow with me on that one. Up next, Khalil and I interview CityWide Poets, and they'll give them a performance that's sure to amaze and inspire.
Hey people, Teens in the D team here. We are excited to introduce ourselves to the Detroit community, a group of very cool high school students from Metro Detroit who are exercising our voices through journalism and broadcast media. In fact, that's our official name, Teens in the D Broadcast Media Group. We are a diverse group, but let us tell you what we do.
We publish our own online magazine featuring Detroit's very own teens, and we produce and direct documentaries on our personal issues, public service announcements, and even promotional videos for local small businesses.
We also host a Teen Forum, an annual event with solution-based panel discussions that seek to unite our community.
That's right. The forum also spotlights great entertainment here in the city of Detroit. And then there's our Youth Innovation Market that not only highlights young entrepreneurs, but we select 3 innovative projects to be mentored by a local business professional.
Right, but you aren't telling the best part.
Right. You are not going to want to miss our Teens in the D show, which brings you the best teen news, teen issues, and the best teen talent from all across the city of Detroit. Yep, that's right. It is a bi-weekly show featuring us, Detroit teens. So join us. We are the platform for the voice of Detroit teens. Teens in the D.
Thank you all for being on the show. I just wanted to ask, what's the type of poetry that you guys do?
Jayla, why don't you tell Khalil a little bit about what we do?
So we are a performance troupe, a part of Inside Out and CityWide Poets. And if you didn't know, CityWide Poets is a nonprofit organization that works with kids in the city. And we have this program called CityWide Poets where we will meet up and write poetry and stuff. And so most of us know each other from that. And the type of poetry that we do, it depends on the type of person. It's a wide variety of all.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Okay.
guys don't go to the same schools, right? You guys go to the same organization though?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of inspired some of you to get into poetry as I don't know, a hobby or a future career?
Trauma.
For me, it was, I think I was writing stories when I was little, but I didn't get into poetry until maybe freshman year, I guess, because I joined a CityWide Poets site in my neighborhood, and I was the only one there, and it was a really cool experience just to every week go and discuss poetry, and I hadn't really read much poetry either, so it was a very new experience.
Okay. Are all of you inexperienced, or some of you have experience, or is it kind of mixed?
I would say it's mixed. Like me personally, I definitely have been writing for a while, but I haven't been in the program for as long, so I have a less matured style of writing, if you will.
Do you guys ever get nervous when you're up on the audience?
Definitely.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I was terrified my first time slamming, but the support at CityWide is wonderful. And I guess before I went up, I was shaking, but afterwards it was the most amazing feeling.
You guys never feel like, you're giving a piece of yourselves to the audience? You never feel like your privacy has been violated or anything? Or just you become one with it, for lack of a better word?
A lot of times. Well, sometimes it depends on what poems I like, right? Or no, it depends on what poems that I perform. Like if I perform more like personal pieces, then kind of so, but I try not to think like that. Like I'm giving myself to people. It's kind of like I'm sharing myself with people, and I'm okay with sharing myself and my story with others. But if I write a poem, like a political piece, you would say, that's like poems that I would like to share, like my like awareness poems. That's like the type of poems that I write where I don't like feel like I'm giving a piece of myself. I feel like I'm like just expressing how I feel.
So, so you talking about different types of poems that you write. How do you prepare for the different poems? Like, how do you guys prepare for like different types of poems that you guys write?
Personally, a lot of my poems stem from prompts that I find like online, or prompts that I'm given by anybody in this group, really. And over time, it just develops like, how do I explain this? It's like we prepare in a way that we're all together and we all understand the environment, and then we write according to the environment, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found like that makes a lot of sense for me because because that goes with anything that you really do in life because you know the environment that you're in really affects you. So you know sharing what you see and sharing what you see going around you and putting it into a poem, that definitely, like, I could definitely see the correlation with that. So I had another question. Like how is it, like how is being in this group CityWide Poets like really affected you?
Fiona?
I think it's affected me in a very positive way, like finding a sense of community and having another home and an outlet to share my creativity with people that also write poetry, and just finding companionship.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Phoenix, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How has being in this organization affected you personally? Getting to meet with the girls and go to all of these places with them.
Well, the girls would tell you that I'm pretty emotional. I go into the space first rather coolly because I know that this is my third or fourth year working with one of the youth teams. This has been my best year so far working with the team, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. I think that my approach to the work usually starts off rather cool. despite the fact that I'm really emotional, so that I can give the girls an opportunity in the space to develop a trust and relationship with each other, and then feel comfortable warming up to me, because I'm a lot. And I also wanted to, I hope, create an experience with the girls where it feels more collaborative, and that I'm not their teacher. I'm an artist, and so I'm coming into the space to learn and create and to share my knowledge. I'm not coming to teach them anything. These girls are very advanced with their writing. They do not need my help really at all. They just need someone to shine a light on the gifts that they already have inside of them. So I think that if you come with the approach that while I am the oldest one in the room and I'm a mentor, you can ask me any question, and if I have an answer for you, or I can go and get information for you, so I can be a resource. But I also want to be treated like another artist in the space. And then once the contract ends, or our term together ends, developing a longer term mentor-mentee sisterhood friendship outside of it. So I would like to think, based on the few weeks that we've been together, that we are developing a sisterhood and a trust, because we put a lot of our business and vulnerability in the space. And so I treat their thoughts and their minds as something extremely sacred, and don't try to diminish them just because they're younger than me.
Right. Now, would you say that you've grown with the girls in your 4 years in this program?
Yes, absolutely. So the girl group, the performance troupe, this is our first year together. But as it relates to the work that I do with Inside Out and CityWide Poets as a whole, Inside Out is our gigantic company. That's the company that we're under, and then CityWide Poets is one of the programs up under it, and then the Detroit Youth Performance Troupe, and previously the Slam team, is up under that umbrella. And I think that every opportunity that I've had with the kids has, I've gone into the space thinking that I was just going to be a resource, but I've walked out the space a much more aware artist, much more aware of what's going on in the world, and finding my own art, my poetry and my music extremely enhanced, because I've experienced these other artists as well. So it's definitely an iron sharpening iron experience.
Right. Now, for the rest of the girls, would you say, how far do you think you can go with your poetry? Do you think that your opportunities are limitless? Would you like to kind of turn it into a hobby? Would you like to expand upon it as a career?
I would like to expand on it as a career. I think it's something I love, like, more than anything else right now. And I would actually love to see where it takes me. I don't think there's any place where it necessarily stops, because I'm always growing as a writer and I'm always growing as a person.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with Simone. I think that it's not been something that I always considered that I could actually make it as a career with, but at the same time, I know that even if I can't, I'm going to try, but even if I can't, I know that whatever point I'm in my life, as long as I can, hold a pencil or type on something, I'll always have this, writing practice with me. It's really comforting.
I agree with Katya and Simone. I definitely see me taking this as far as I can as a career. It's something I'm really sure about because it just feels so natural to me. Like, I've been writing since I was so young, so I don't ever see myself stopping.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with the rest of the girls. I've been writing for a long time, but I've been writing poetry since 9th grade, and I'm a senior now, and I've grew a lot, and I feel like there is more time to grow. As far as making it a career, I never really thought of it, but I never really like dismissed like it happening. It was just like one of those things that if it happens, it happens. Um, there are like a lot of people and a lot of poets that I've met that have made a career out of poetry and are doing like really well. And like I do get a lot of inspiration from them. Like, oh yeah, this might be cool, or this could be something that I like really like to do.
Cool, very cool. Kolo, do you have any more questions?
Well, I did have one. So besides Miss Phoenix here, who's somebody that you guys like really look up to, like in the poetic community?
Excellent question.
Probably Devin. Devin holds a very special place in my heart. Yeah. He's the mentor that runs the library site that I think all of us go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't there. I was usually at the Hamtramck site, and I've only been to going to main library for a short time. But even before that, I knew Devin, and he's just been one of the most supportive and kind people that I've ever known. And he writes really dope poetry. And he's not afraid to be vulnerable with his students. I feel like it turns into more of a friendship, and because we're all sharing such vulnerable things with each other, it becomes really special, I think.
Yeah.
I think the second that, like, Devin definitely has been such an influence. Like, if he wasn't there my first day of CityWide Poets, I don't know where I would be right now. He's such a light, and he tells you how it is. He lets you write vulnerably, but he also shows you how to write more skillfully. And I really appreciate him.
For me, I have to say it is Devin too. Like, he has this very warm energy and he creates a safe space no matter where he goes, and he's very accepting. And ever since I met him, I just like, I don't know how to explain it, but he really pushed me to be more vulnerable in my writing. So
Yeah, Devin. I have a couple. Um, Devin, Phoenix, Brittany, Nadine. There are like
Sure.
a lot of adults around us that are like very like awesome, who like and like they help me a lot with like becoming like who I am as like a writer and also as a person. And a lot of times I say that it's deeper than just poetry. It's like a whole like family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we all like really love each other a lot. And it's just like a really like amazing experience to be a part of. To also have like people of that bracket like teaching you things that like they know and like being there for you and being your mentor. It's like really cool.
Yeah. So I heard vulnerability a lot. So would you guys say that that's like a very important piece of doing different poetry?
Definitely. I think for certain types of poetry, you just have to be willing to open yourself up more.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So if you're being vulnerable and authentic, you'll reach people in a very vulnerable and authentic space. And I think that's something that these girls have naturally honed with their work.
Yeah. So another question. What's something that you guys are looking forward to like coming up with you guys? Like, do you guys have any like? Do you guys have like a show coming up? We're gonna showcase your different poems or something, or what's happening? What's next for you guys?
We have a performance. So obviously, we're limited in physical spaces because of COVID-19. But we were just invited. Well, first of all, our invitation here to Teens in the D was a huge honor. Just being one of our, you guys are our first official gig out the gate. So we're a little nervous, but we're super excited to be here. And then next week, we've been offered an opportunity with the Delaware Museum of Art in Wilmington, Delaware. They've invited us to perform a piece to open up their first digital ceremonies as everyone is starting to move to a digital platform because of the virus. And then we've also been invited to do work with Wayne State University. We're curating a group poem for their event regarding overcoming. So we have the gigs are starting to trickle in, especially because we're here in a digital space. And so we're prepping and workshopping and performing.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. Like, of course, like we're glad to have you on the show, and if you guys ever wanted to come back, it's just the word. Um, but yeah, like, so you guys said you're going to you guys have a gig in Delaware. So like, how did like that Delaware? How did that happen? Like, 'cause that's kind of far, right?
Somebody heard about the work that I was doing with young people, and when they found out that in general, it's different. We have male and female who are a part of our performance troops, but this year we got really lucky with an all-girl team, and so folks are very fascinated by that. So when they knew that there were powerful women voices that Inside Out was heralding right now as the team, they were thrilled to give the girls an opportunity. And then always, as you know, even with your programming here with Teens in the D, people are always excited to hear the youth perspective. And so I find their work extremely refreshing. It's incredibly honest. And so folks are looking for that, especially in a time of uncertainty.
Yeah. So in this time of in this time of uncertainty, so like, what's something like that you guys are doing just to like keep keep your heads on straight, like, because we're not able to, be in person with each other, go outside and stuff. So like, what's something that you guys have been doing?
I've been watching musicals and reading books, and I've been on Twitter. But Twitter's only to be entertained because Twitter is very sad. But besides that, I've been watching like a lot of like musicals that I like growing up, and I've been reading books. I just got like 4 or 5 new books that I'm reading right now. So that's been keeping me like grounded.
I've been stretching a lot, and it's something that I do anyways, but especially since there's all this talking about this is what COVID-19 feels like, this is what you can do to avoid it. I find stretching really helpful to just kind of like feel like I'm actually in my body again.
Mm.
And then also I've been writing a lot, like a lot more than I usually do, just because I have a lot more time, and that's actually been really nice.
Tiana?
I'm also writing a lot of poetry, and not just poetry, like journaling. And I also play lots of games. I am a little bit of a gamer. And I watch a lot of K-dramas. So
I've been reading a lot. Harry Potter is great right now. And I've also been like reading for education purposes. Like, I'm writing a paper on sleep paralysis right now, and it's actually really interesting.
Do you guys ever intermingle your interests with your poetry?
Definitely for me, I think. I've been really interested in sci-fi fiction recently, and I think that's been kind of going into my poetry a little bit. Yeah.
I do. I definitely feel like it expands my variety of writing. So like I could definitely reach out and think of something I'm interested in other than the main topic and like make it a metaphor.
I think I'm starting to a little bit more now that I have a little bit more time on my hands. Like I recently wrote a poem slash story about a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm starting to like write screenplays, and it's been very challenging, but like I've been like trying to like intersect it with like my poetry. So like write very like unnecessarily sappy monologues, but like in poetic form so it sounds good, you know? And that's been semi helping.
So,
Now, while I was scrolling on your site, I noticed that you guys, or I don't know if this was your branch, but a branch of CityWide Poets had just ended their online festival on May 7th. Were any of you guys a part of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How was the experience?
For me, it was bittersweet because they've had that same festival in person, 4 years in a row, and now it's virtual, and it was actually kind of upsetting that I had gone 3 years before, and this would have probably been my last year going. But the prompts and the discussions were amazing.
Yeah, that was really it. I don't know how I feel about it because like um louder than a bomb is like one of those things that like in order to feel it, you have to like go and it has to be like an in-person thing. So like Simone said, bittersweet, like Inside Out did the best that they could to make us have that same feeling. And I really appreciated them for that. And I really do appreciate Inside Out for like keeping up with like open mics and like CityWide Poets virtually because of COVID. But like louder than a bomb, like to get like the full experience, like you have to go because it's so amazing, and it's so many like amazing cool people that you meet, and it is like an experience, like a concert, but like with poets is yeah, you have to be there. It was really cool.
I'm in the middle. I enjoyed it, but I also felt sad when it was over and while it was happening because it was my first ever LTAB. I've never done LTAB before, so it was kind of like my first experience. I'm fairly new to CityWide Poets. Um, and for me, like seeing people physically, that's like something that really touches me to like know that I'm in a physical space with all my friends and we're all supporting each other, but I still felt that, through the screen. And it was just so nice to see everyone again.
Yeah, I was sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you. Oh, my bad. No, you can go.
I was just gonna say I completely agree with that. I will say I had the opportunity to look up a lot of the poems that we were looking at afterwards and kind of have the time to take the prompts as far as I wanted to. And sometimes that's a little hard in the space because you go from workshop to performance to open mic. And that I wrote a lot more than I usually do. That being said, I really miss the LTABs that I've been to before have just had so much good energy, and the performances have been so inspiring, and I did miss that this year, having it not be in a physical setting. But I think it was felt much more connected, that even in a virtual space, than I expected it to be. And Inside Out, I think, did an amazing job with it this year.
What's something that you guys do um like you probably can't do it now, but do you guys ever go out just to hang out together, or like to build the sisterhood that you guys were talking about earlier?
We haven't yet because this group was formed after we were already in quarantine.
Yeah.
But the day they let us out, I'm finding them and I am hugging them.
Simone, I think Simone just spoke for the whole group. I think that's where we I feel like the first order of business is personal grooming, hair, eyebrows, toenails, nails.
Yes.
Setting up a meeting with my girls to be in a space with them so that we can collaborate, hug, cry together. So yeah.
I miss human interaction. It is so sad. I couldn't hug none of my friends when I seen them. And I was in Florida and now I'm back in Detroit and I can't even see my team or Phoenix, and I live downtown. I literally used to catch the bus every day for 45 minutes just to go downtown and go hang out at Inside Out, their office and stuff. It just be around them because the energy is really that good. And I just really want this to be over so I can see my girls and we can get conies and stuff. It is so
It's gonna be so emotional.
I know.
I'm so excited.
All right. When we come back, into our CityWide Poets is going to deliver their spoken word and poetry performance. So stay around.
It feels unnatural to not be in motion. For the city built on four wheels to stand still. But these vacant streets, empty stadiums, are not signs of our retreat, but of our resolve. This is not us sitting out the fight. This is us winning it. Our fist doesn't need to move to have strength. If he were alive today, even Henry himself would have put it in park. So take this isolation as a sign of our togetherness, as we take care of ourselves and the ones close. Because although it's time for America's motor to stop, we're coming back with all 8 cylinders. Because here, we don't stop in the name of fear. Here, we stop in the name of love.
So without further ado, go girls.
Hi, my name is Kati Rowan. I'm 17 years old, and this is my poem, Quarantine Stars. I am taking out the trash. Sky the opaque of a black grill cover. Stars behind my eyes sparkle glass. Holes in the grill cover, or holes in my lungs, or the stars move and I watch. I, a parasitic human. Unexpected clear skies. Beijing, New York City, Venice. I, a parasitic human, plastic bag of vegetable peelings in my hand, I watch the stars behind my eyes and wonder if I am crazy. Satellites visible between Vega, North Star, Orion. I wonder if I am crazy, watch satellites circle above me, tiny glittering bugs, among the stars I have never seen so clearly. Humans have tried so hard, tried to colonize even this unreachable sky. I watch the earth shrug off its mantle of humanity and hope I will stay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jayla Glenn. I am 18 years old, and this is a poem I wrote called I Took a Sip of Fago. I took a sip of Fago. I took a sip of Fago and stood there in peace. I took a sip of Fago and forgot I was in a forgotten land. I took a sip of Fago and missed home. I felt home for the first time in 4 months. I'll be spending my birthday in solitude. A Family Dollar run turned into my life feeling at ease. My Detroit drink with my Detroit vernacular running through me.
I'm Simone. I'm 18. And this is an open letter to Netflix. Dear Netflix, thank you for the endless hours of entertainment you have equipped us with in quarantine. Thank you for all the comedy specials and throwback releases. Thank you for introducing me to a level of binge watching I hadn't experienced before and wish to never experience again. No, seriously, Netflix, thank you for giving us something to do between napping and binge eating. I've watched so many unfunny comedy specials that I'm actively writing a better one for you. I've watched strangers abstain from sex for money. I've seen all of your top trending shows. I've questioned the lack of Black people in all of your top trending shows. I've grieved the death of Derek Shepherd, cringed at Ross and Rachel, and sighed through Jackie and Kelso's problems this week alone. Come on, Netflix. You think you're doing us a service with all of this? We sit on our couches, paying for crappy TV, eating snacks we can't even afford right now, and pajamas we haven't changed in 2 days, and you call it joy. But comfort food and excessive dreaming and 18 hours of Netflix resembles my last heartbreak more than any joy I have ever known.
Hi, my name is Tiana Jones. I'm 17, and my poem is called How to Find Joy in the Middle of a Pandemic and Write About It. I don't. I'm a poet, not a magician. I can't conjure pretty words you want to hear and make them sound happy together. I don't know why people keep asking this of me. Even now, we are expected to smile and say fake positive words, crack open my skull and spill out a rainbow, gloss over your selfish prompt and be a more cheery, empty version of myself. I don't know how we'll get through this. I'm going through it just like you, talking about overcoming when we haven't even come out yet. When things are awful, why are we encouraged to not talk about how awful they are? Can we just feel what life is actually like first? But you think that this is what poets do. I don't. I'm not a poetry machine, something you can poke when you feel sad. You cannot pimp my creativity. I don't write about things I cannot give.
Yeah,
Wow. I think I speak for everyone when I say that was amazing.
yeah. Yeah. So thank you all so much for your time and for your brilliant performances. And viewers, stick around because more talent is to come.
Man, that was a really good show today.
It
Really good.
was. I personally loved CityWide Poets' performance. I thought it was
Yeah.
very moving, you know?
Yeah.
I personally enjoyed our talk about trending topics. Just talking about reopening the country as a whole, what our thoughts were about that, and what we thought about sports reopening. Does I really enjoyed talking about them with you guys.
I enjoyed the trending topics too. I'm really excited for what's to come, especially for the musical part and everything like that.
Yeah, same here. I'm really excited to see what's gonna come next. And like what she said, the trending topics was really good to talk about. It's a breath of fresh air because you can't see your friends and some of your family. So it was good.
Yeah, it was. It was a very nice way to take your mind off of everything. To all of our Teens in the D viewers, make sure you come with us next time on this fantastic podcast. My name is Kendall Wallace, and this has been the Teens in the D podcast.